I'm Mark Peterson, and this is an agency update of the FEMA podcast. On October 3rd, 2018, at approximately 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time, FEMA will conduct a national test of the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System. This national system, which includes the emergency alert system and the wireless emergency alerts, will provide authenticated emergency information from emergency officials to the public through radio, television, cellular phones, and some internet applications. We sat down with Antoine Johnson, the director of the Integrated Public Alert and Warning Program at FEMA headquarters, to help explain what people can expect from the test and why it's an important step in developing a more prepared nation. Antoine, on October 3rd, around 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time, there's going to be a test of both the wireless emergency alert system and the emergency alert system. Why are we conducting both the tests at the same time?
Right. So historically, we've only tested the emergency alert system, radio and television broadcasts. I think, people across the country are accustomed to seeing those alerts appear in a scroll across the bottom of their television, or in hearing that message along with the tones on their radio. And that occurs on a fairly frequent basis with the monthly tests that are conducted by broadcasters, as well as these required monthly tests that have both the tones as well as an audio message that is associated with it. This time is a little bit different. We have this new capability called wireless emergency alerts that folks will typically mistaken for just a text message that appears on their phone from the National Weather Service in the case of severe weather. Or from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the case of Amber Alerts that are issued to your mobile devices. That capability was launched nationally in April of 2012 and has had a pretty significant impact on our ability to disseminate information over mobile devices. And this will be the first time that we will test this system in issuing a presidential level alert, which was the primary reason for creating the system to begin with. So in 2006, Congress passed the Alert and Warning Act, the WARN Act. And that called for the establishment at that time of a system called the Commercial Mobile Alerting System. It tasked both the cellular industry and the FCC to come up with rules and a technical capability to leverage our cellular capability to disseminate information. That system, while used for local alerting, while used for severe weather warnings and Amber Alerts, has never been exercised at the national level for a presidential type of alert. And so this is an opportunity for us during National Preparedness Month to exercise these capabilities to ensure that the people of this country and those who visit the U.S. can receive national level information should there be some threat to their safety.
On television and radio, what will people actually see and hear?
So on television, people will see on the date of the test, they will see a message scroll across their TV. It will say this is a test of the National Emergency Alert System. This system was developed by broadcast and cable operators in voluntary cooperation with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Federal Communications Commission, and local authorities to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. If this had been an actual emergency, an official message would have followed the tone alert you heard at the start of this message. A similar wireless emergency alert message has been sent to all cell phones in the nation. Some cell phones will receive the message, others will not. No action is required. On mobile devices, people will receive a text message on their mobile device, which will state that this is a presidential alert. This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed.
When there's a need for the president to push out an alert through this system, he's pushing it out to every person in the nation.
Yes, and the idea is with IPAWS, with the stand-up of the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System in 2006 by executive order, the intent was to reach people through a number of different communications mediums, whether it was radio, television, wireline services, our mobile or cellular technology, as well as social media, to ensure that people received the information that they needed to have to then respond to whatever the threat may be. And so this will be the first time. It is unlike any other technology, your typical text message that appears on your phone, and that it's based on a slightly different technology to ensure that we can push that information to mobile devices in the absence of the cellular network being present. And so just as you can make a 911 call on your mobile device in the absence of the cellular network, or whether or not you have a data plan on your mobile device, we can, at the national level, as well as state and local, push that information to your mobile device, even if you don't have a data plan on it. So that ensures people can receive any type of emergency information that may present a threat to their safety, and ensures that that message contains information that will allow them to take the actions necessary to avoid any type of injury or death.
So will anybody with a cellular device receive the alert?
So most phones across the country will receive the alert. There are some anomalies, and we've seen those surface from time to time with just local alerting or severe weather warnings that have been issued by the National Weather Service. And so this is an opportunity to assess the entire network. We will see some anomalies, so we don't expect that all of the 300 million devices in the country will receive that message, but we're fairly confident that the majority of those devices will. And so we will take that data and work with both the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, as well as the cellular industry to work out any kinks in the system to ensure every American receives the information that they need in response to some threat.
Antoine, does a member of the public have to actually sign up to receive WEA alerts, or do they have to do anything to their wireless device?
And that's one of the beauties of wireless emergency alerts, is that the public doesn't have to sign up to receive these text messages on their mobile devices. When we launched formally in April of 2012, the majority, if not all, of the mobile devices that were being manufactured at that time came automatically configured with wireless emergency alerts turned on the device. And so there is nothing to do, no personal information to be provided. Certainly there was a concern at the time that we launched that the federal government was monitoring or tracking people, and that is not the case. The federal government does not know where that phone is or who is carrying that phone or anything of that nature. And so unlike, your local subscription-based alerting tools, there's no personal information to be provided. That location-based alert that may be received on the device is determined by the cellular network and the location of that device.
Why is it important that we do this test now?
Right. It's extremely important that we do this test. One of the goals of this administration and of this agency is that we have a prepared nation. And one means of being prepared is ensuring that we can communicate with people during times where our communication systems may be extremely stressed. And if you recall from hurricane season, Maria and Irma and Harvey, thank you so much. Our communication systems and the ability to communicate with people were extremely stressed at that time. And so we want to test to make sure that we are working through any challenges or issues that were identified during those particular hurricanes, that the system continues to be improved, and that we can reach people regardless of who they are, where they might be, and what they might be doing. And so this is extremely important for us, that we gather that data and can continue to improve on those technologies and that capability. And so that, in addition to just making sure that folks are aware of all of the things that they should be doing in terms of being prepared for any type of natural disaster or local disaster or event in their communities, this gives us another means to assess those things and to improve them over time.
This is a test, but what kind of alerts might people receive if it were a real event?
We have seen examples of real events in local communities over the last 5 or so years where there have been a number of alerts that have been issued to folks in response to active shooters. in response to flash floods or tornado or hurricane type activity, as well as, we've seen examples of where local authorities have issued boil water advisories or train derailment where there may be some hazardous chemical that has been spilled. And so, the system is used for anything that presents a threat to public safety. And if there was, for example, a national emergency, the system would be used by the president, or could be used by the president, to issue any national level type information. I think, January 13th of this year demonstrated an event, although it was a false ballistic missile warning, where some type of threat by a nation state would warrant that type of information being pushed across these systems, both EAS, as in the emergency alert system, as well as wireless emergency alerts, or any other means for disseminating that information to internet content providers or application developers, whomever. But the whole intent is to make sure that the people of this country are fully informed of and aware of any threat that the nation is faced with.
Antoine, FEMA has responsibility for the integrated public alert and warning system, but it's not just FEMA alone. Who are some of our partners on this test?
So there are a number of partners, both within the public and the private sector, that we work with on a regular basis. The first of which is the Federal Communications Commission. The FCC develops the rules and regulations that kind of govern the activities of the broadcast community as well as the cellular industry. So that's a tremendous relationship in terms of writing the rules under which these both broadcasters and cellular industry partners will support these national alerting capabilities. Then, of course, the cellular industry is a partner of ours in providing us with the ability to leverage the tremendous investment that they made in their technologies to deliver this information to people through cellular means, as well as broadcasters, a tremendous partner of ours with making their broadcast networks and things like that available to us to disseminate information. And of course, we have our partners on the Hill who are instrumental in writing legislation or legislating, and we've seen that we've gone from executive order and an executive order in 2006 to legislation that was passed in 2016 to take what was contained in that executive order and actually put it into law. And so that's been a tremendous partnership with them. But most importantly, I think, the people of this country are a significant stakeholder. We are here to deliver to them the services that I think they expect of us on a daily basis, and we consider them to be our primary stakeholder and partner as we move forward with delivering these services in terms of wireless emergency alerts or any other type of information that presents a threat to their safety. And then, of course, there's the National Weather Service for severe weather warnings. Their partnership with us is also extremely important, primarily because, the majority of the alerts that are issued in this country today come from the National Weather Service. And they are flash flood warnings and tornadoes and hurricanes and all of the things that are associated with weather. But in addition to that, NOAA Weather Radio is another, key means for disseminating information across the country. And of course, NOAA maintains about 1,000 transmitters across the country that, provide additional capability for us. So yeah, tremendous partnership at both the public and the private sector levels, and we place great value in certainly the private sector and the investment that they have made in their infrastructure, and allowing the federal government as well as state and local and tribal governments to leverage that infrastructure to deliver information to people.
How long have you been with the program?
So I joined FEMA in 2009, and to be quite honest, I thought I would be in FEMA for a couple years and then go back to the Department of Defense. But once I arrived here, just working with the folks here, we have a great team here in FEMA, and I think every person that works in the program is tremendously dedicated to this mission area. But then developing the technology and working with the partners that I just described, both on the private and the public side, and delivering information that's making a difference in people's lives every day has just, convinced me that this is the right place to be. And I think that while we made significant improvements in our alerting technologies over the last 9 years, there's still a lot of work to be done. I think we'll have an opportunity to move into and kind of exploit these kind of ubiquitous alerting concepts that we've talked about so that we can reach people regardless, as I mentioned, of who they are or where they are, what they might be doing. Looking at emerging technologies like smart home technology to deliver information, as well as taking advantage of some of the satellite technology to push information into automobiles where we can provide route direction, to help folks avoid an incident. And so there's a lot of opportunity, especially as it relates to social media as a primary means for disseminating information as well. So there's still a lot of challenges. We made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of progress to be made if we are truly going to move into an environment where every person that may be in harm's way can receive the information they need to get out of harm's way.
What does it mean to you to look back over the course of alert programs, like going back to air raids in the Cold War, and to see it move to a point now where we're able to send out or push alerts right to a wireless device that people are basically ubiquitous in the United States?
Yeah, and I mean, if you look back in history from 1951 or even prior to 1951, before President Truman stood up the Control of Electromagnetic Radiation Program, there was not a coordinated means within this country for disseminating national level information to people, and so you had siren systems, air raid systems, and things like that. But that was, in terms of today, that would not be an effective way of disseminating information because, of course, those sirens have a limited reach. And so with the advancements that have been made over the last 60 plus years, I think they are tremendous and demonstrate the power of both the private and the public sector working together to solve some of the challenges that we have with keeping people informed. And so I'm just looking forward to, even greater things for the future. And I think there are tremendous advancements that can be made to continue to serve the needs of our communities.
We've linked to this episode on our FEMA Facebook page, and we invite you to join the conversation in the comments. If you have ideas for a FEMA podcast topic, send us an email at fema-podcasts@fema.dhs.gov. If you would like to learn more about this episode or other topics, visit fema.gov/podcasts.